This is Eric Beyer of Old Vine, Texas, a new winery tasting room featuring 100% Texas wines from wineries all over the state. We are located in Mansfield, Texas, inside of Ancora Event Center on Broad Street. We have weekly tastings, charcuterie board to enjoy, live music, and a new wine club. Go visit our website at oldvinetexas.com to sign up for our newsletter and learn more. Or you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Old Vine, Texas. We'll see you soon.
Howdy, y'all, and welcome back to We Know Texas Vino, the show where we uncork the stories of Lone Star State, one vineyard at a time. I'm your host, Will, and this is my co-host, Robert.
Hey, how you doing? Good to be here.
And today we're headed east into the pines in the Red Dirt's country, and we are here with Val and Web to celebrate 5 years of unforgettable years of Doc Cellars winery. Or wines, is that correct, or winery?
Doc Cellars.
Doc Cellars, just Doc Cellars, no wines too. Okay, so Doc Cellars. Welcome onto the show. How y'all doing?
Great. Thank you for having us.
Texas.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we met each other by chance at a winery that I work at Landon Winery. And you and I actually talked several times, and we talked about Texas wine and stuff like that. And then I realized y'all were actually making wine or having wine made or making wine for y'all. And so I was like, well, we got to get you on the show. And finally, the last time y'all were actually in town, y'all said, well, y'all are having your 5 years anniversary party. I was like, well, we should do this episode for y'all. So here we are. We're celebrating 5 years for y'all. So that's amazing.
5 years has gone very fast.
Yeah, we go in the middle of COVID, so we made it through that. I mean, we've got great business sense.
Oh yeah,
we don't communicate so well anyway, but we had masks on, and so that made it even more challenging.
Yeah, oh wow, that was the worst thing ever. And I like to joke a lot, and so when I make a joke, people see me smile, but you got a mask on. And I make a joke to you, and you're going to take it personal and want to punch me. And I've got a mask, so I hated that. Well, one of the funny things was we had I won't name her name, but associated with TABC.
Okay,
we're all masked up. She came in here, no mask.
Okay, what y'all didn't see is she slapped his leg.
No mask, and was giving us some of the 51% signs or giving us something. And she said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have a mask." So
that's funny. Well, before we get deep into the show, tell us what y'all got poured and what you poured for Robert and I.
So both of you are drinking the Ponderosa Red, which was our very first wine that we did. It's local grapes. Wow. The grapes are grown right here from our good friends Baker Ranch and Vineyard, just a couple miles out of town. And Renee Baker is probably the best grape grower. She's amazing.
And what varietals in it?
So it's Black Spanish.
Okay.
And this one just keeps getting better and better.
We made a huge mistake when we picked it up. Literally, it was bottled in the morning, and we busted out a bottle in the
excited.
evening, and it was like, this is horrible. What have we done? And then just over time, Michael, our winemaker, he said bottle shock. You got to let it sit, et cetera, et cetera. Of course, we didn't pay it.
I'm not a very patient person.
Yeah. But yes, it has, as it's aged, it's gotten
this is outstanding.
That's outstanding.
So that initial shock of, oh my God, what have we done?
So what we picked this summer, we're going to take basically the same recipe, and we're going to age it in bourbon barrels. So we're excited.
That's going to be amazing. I'm trying to think of wineries that have a Black Spanish bourbon barrel. I don't know of any off the top of my head.
Us either. So we like to do, things different.
I may have to make a special trip down here just for that. Don't see my family, just come down here for that. So what are y'all drinking?
We are drinking the Blanc du Bois. You say it, Webb.
No, I'm not going to say it. I'd say it bad.
I think you might get in trouble with some countries.
Yes, exactly.
Blancaboo.
So
that sounds Australian.
So, I mean, the reason why I do this podcast is because not everybody just wakes up and says, hey, you know what? I want to open a winery, or hey, I want to be a winemaker. So where did y'all come from? What pointed y'all into the direction that y'all wanted to do this and actually get into wine?
All right. Well, can I tell a story? My brother, older brother, he's a pediatric surgeon in San Antonio.
Okay.
We are very, very competitive. Mm-hmm. When I was going to college, he always said, call me Dr. Mike. And so I did not want to practice medicine. I nearly got a PhD just so he could call me Dr. Web. But so we have been competitive our entire lives, and we went to visit him a bunch of years ago.
We were actually doing a Texas wine trail.
Okay.
Just all the various ones, and we made our way down to San Antonio.
Okay.
Yeah, and
stopped in for a visit.
And he had made some kit wines.
Okay.
And they were very good. And it's like, well, competitive nature in me. It's like, okay, we're going to start making some kit wines. And I don't know, 1,200, 1,300 bottles later.
We made all the wine for our wedding.
Yeah. In fact,
out of our kitchen.
Yeah. And we had a few spills. We had a white tile, and we had some, red wine that let's
like
just
a murder scene.
Yeah,
well, that's the new trend nowadays. Spilled wine tiles is the new trend.
Yeah. But yeah, one thing led to another, and out at the ranch here, we started a small vineyard. I figured out I didn't want to be a farmer.
I don't know that you didn't want to. It's just the amount of time that we don't have enough hours in the day for it.
And so we purchase all Texas fruit, some local here to Chandler, and other from West Texas, and kind of brings us to where we are today. We have 11 of our own wines.
13 now.
13.
Wow.
So, started off with one, the one that you guys are having, and have just kind of expanded out.
Okay. Well, Val, what about you? I mean, I know you just didn't follow his path because I don't know if you'll be called Dr. Web either.
I became just as interested as he did when we started making it. And I think for us, we had always thought when we put the test vineyard in that we would wait till we were retired and then we would have, a little winery at the ranch. And that was kind of the vision. And then when we started spending more time out here and we started becoming more involved with the community and they knew our interest in wine and what we wanted to do, the town was really interested in us putting something in here. And, we weren't really at the point where we could do something full time. Mm-hmm. And so we said, well, if we do it, it's literally going to be, a weekend thing. We're going to have to start with other Texas wine while we, make our own. And it's going to take a little while. And so we said, you know what, if we don't, someone probably will. Mm-hmm. And so let's just do it. And it's been amazing. I think the biggest thing for us is we started with, a love of wine, and then our love of community is there's so many gatherings here. We're so, we're a part of wedding showers, baby showers, it's people's lives.
Funerals.
And it's just kind of become the center of the town. So that's been probably the biggest blessing around it.
Well, and the one thing you said there, and I hear that from all the wineries, not just a few here and there, is community. Like, every winery that I've gone to, all of them all say the exact same thing. We love to bring in community to push and promote the wine industry. And not just the wine industry, but also just the community itself. And there's a lot of wineries. In fact, actually, one of them that just recently opened up a couple of months ago this year was CC Farms. The same thing. I literally said, and I even told them this, I said, I don't think a winery will actually succeed here. And they made me eat my own words because the community came out. If you got the support of the community will support you. And if they support you, you're going to succeed. And I've watched y'all. Y'all have great turnouts out here. I've seen y'all.
The community has really supported us here, so we're very blessed by that.
Awesome. Well, so you decided you're going to do this. You started your vineyard, which I have to agree with you. Also, I found out really fast that I'm not a vineyard person.
Don't come look at the vineyard
I've
right
done my time in the vineyard work, and I realized that vineyard is not where I want to be at, but to be a good winemaker, you have to know what goes on in the vineyard. Yep. So you need to kind of work in it just a little bit to kind of get an understanding of it. But once you get working in it and you get going with it, then you understand what's going on. Then you can say, I'm not doing this no more. I'm going out here. I'm going to actually make the wine now.
Well, and that's what they say. All great wine starts in the vineyard. And luckily, the people we buy the grapes from, very close relationship, with our winemaker.
They actually run the winery for us on Fridays.
Yeah, and when it's it's time to harvest, they'll be exchanging notes on bricks, pH, and all of that, and the winemakers say, okay, well, here's what the wine they want. Yes, let's go ahead and pick it, and very, very close relationship.
Then a lot of the community comes out to harvest, and that's a really fun day too.
Yeah,
and then we'll celebrate with a big harvest party usually up here that evening. So it's a fun day.
Yeah. I've done some harvesting before, and it's really fun, especially when you almost lose your finger.
Well, except when you find the bee's nest.
Oh,
that's
the random snake.
Or the random snake, yes.
Well, there's a vineyard up in Fredericksburg. She actually has a turkey who laid her nest in the vineyard.
Really?
Yeah,
wow.
In the netting, which is kind of funny that random spot in the world to do it, but yeah.
What's fun is when you have new folks that come to harvest that have never participated before, and their new appreciation for a bottle of wine after that. You never look at the bottle of wine the same when you're on that part of the process.
Yeah. When you're on the other side of the bar actually doing the work, and you see it, and you see the time and effort that you had to go through, and you have to look at the grapes, and you're like, okay, is this a good grape or is this a bad grape? And then you have to decide right then and there to drop it or not. Or if only half of it's bad, you clip off the bad and you keep the rest, Those are always the fun parts. And sometimes new people doing it don't understand until they've done it 2 or 3 times, and they're like, oh, I know which one's a good grape, which one's a bad grape. Or sometimes they'll do the bluebell, 1 for me, 1 for you. 2 for me, 1, 2 for you.
And let's just say the first year that we harvested, I don't know if we got any of the grapes on that one.
No.
We didn't get any of the grapes. But subsequent to that, then, we got all of the grapes in the vineyard. And so you become a bit more selective when you're harvesting of, oh, well, here's a raisin. No, that's not going in the bucket. Whereas that first year, it's like, oh, yeah, throw it in the bucket. Throw it in the bucket.
If you want to make Amarone, you can throw the raisins in there.
Yeah, here it is. I'll take it.
Exactly.
Well, so how did y'all decide what? Okay, so did y'all immediately decide y'all want to do 100% Texas fruit, or did y'all just kind of like, you compared what you get from California and from Washington, Oregon, and then compared it to Texas? What made y'all decide to be 100% Texas?
Well, so very, very good question. I get asked that a lot. Where we're at right here in Chandler, this is considered dry,
right?
And you can go to the grocery store, get takeout. You can go to the restaurants. You can have wine, beer, mixed drinks there. But what we're doing, where you can have it here, or you can get something to go. And I'm sure you guys are familiar with the laws that were passed probably 20 couple of years ago. Texas has some of the most interesting, air quote, interesting alcohol laws that you could ever believe. And I don't know their names, but some of the early guys, you had these vineyards that they were in dry counties, and they couldn't sell their wine to somebody walking in. And so they got some legislature passed that said, if you're a Texas winery, 75% or more Texas fruit, and that's subject to change if we've got a drought or something that could reduce it, and it's bottled in Texas, you can open up anywhere you want. And so I had discovered that, did some research, talked with the Chandler attorney, talked with the TABC, and they said, yeah, you guys can do it. And I will say that Chandler they were 110% behind what we were doing. I mean, that's awesome. I can't say enough for the administration, for the Economic Development Council. I mean, everybody just welcomed us, with open arms. And once they understood the law and understood what we were doing, and that we could do what we were doing, they were completely on board.
Now, did you build this building or did you find this building?
No, you can tell the story.
So
awesome.
we own the church across the street, the old church, and originally we were thinking of putting the winery there. But when we first were going to do it, then the church decided no, they weren't going to sell, and in that time, this building came up for lease, and we said, you know what? Let's just go ahead and lease here. And once we did that, we signed the lease, we got our plans together for here. Then they came back and decided they didn't want to sell that property. So we still bought the property, but we went ahead and set up here.
But this used to be
a dance school for years. And so there were no windows. They had the drop ceiling in here.
Okay.
And then I think after the dance studio, it was some kind of a second store or something like that. So that's when we came in and pretty much blew everything out, put in the windows, put in
this was just a solid wall here. I mean, it had a little door there, but we put those
Web
doors.
made this table. That's our old fence from our old house in Dallas. The back bar is our neighbor's fence. So we just, we like to repurpose things.
Repurpose. Not scavenge.
That's awesome. See, that's another part of the stories that we cover, because people decide what they're going to do down, and then, okay, what are we going to do? We're going to build, or are we going to use a building? At a lot of places go into an older area or one that's already established, so people recognize the building. Oh, what's there now?
Yeah.
Yes.
And a lot of these buildings like yours, these are so easy to repurpose. And I mean, I say easy,
like he does every day. He does it every day. He does one a day.
The gas station might be different.
And then Doc was my grandfather, who was born and raised in Chandler.
Okay.
The ranch that we have now was his. And we just wanted to kind of, put his name back into the town, and that's why we decided to call it Doc's. And it,
that's the next part I was going to.
A lot of people think I'm Doc.
They think he's Doc.
You should accept that.
The next question that we get is, was my grandfather a doctor? And we said, well, he went to dental school way back, in the early 1900s in North Texas.
Okay.
And he had, I don't know if it was a roommate, a friend, or whatever, had a toothache, and he thought, well, I can help. I'm a dental student. Well, he ended up pulling the wrong tooth, and it scarred him. And so he never finished dental school, but everyone called him Doc his whole life. He ended up having a garage in Snyder Plaza across from SMU for 40 years there. So he lived in Dallas and then bought the ranch that we have today for a weekend place out here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I want to circle back around, the fact that the city of Chandler took y'all in with open arms, because I hear a lot of times when people go into counties where it's dry and they try to do a little tasting room or a wine bar, and they get resistance, like 100% resistance. And for the sounds of it, y'all didn't have any resistance, and if you did, it was very minimal.
Yeah, no, we were completely supported the whole way, and in fact, we help. We have we have Rotary meetings here. We have KCB meetings here. We chamber meetings here. So, we really try to give.
KCB is Keep Chandler
Beautiful. And so we try to, give back to the community, because they've very much been big supporters of us.
Yeah, that is very fascinating, because like I said, there's a lot of places that they try to do something like this, and they come into a brick wall and they have to fight every little step. They take 2 steps forward and 17 steps back, and then they have to start all over again. And that's awesome that the city of Chandler actually opened their arms up and said, yes, we want this. Let's bring this in. That is amazing.
The ADC was a huge supporter for us too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now you got your tasting room figured out. You got the support of the community, so you got it going in here, and then you said, okay, now I want to bring some wine in here. Now, we all know that when you start a winery out, sometimes you don't start out with your own winery or your own wine, because it takes at least a minimum of 3 years to get your own labels, or get your own wine and get your own labels out there. And so you had to decide to do something. So obviously, from the looks of y'all have curated some good wines up here. So what made y'all decide the wineries that y'all have got on now versus what you had when you first opened up?
Really? I think it was from a strategic positioning of where they were.
It's an easy answer. Most of the wineries, we have either friends or relatives that are close by.
And so that's how we knew the wineries. So we have some around, the Lampasas, Lomita area there. We had family there. So we had gotten to know them anyway. Same where my brother lives. We had, been able to know some of those wineries. So immediately that's who we went to first and just said, hey, we're doing this. Would you be interested, in selling to us and us having your wine here? And then we had tons of samples from everywhere, and would just sit, and if we had sweet wine drinker friends, we brought them to the table. We brought, everybody to the table and just went through and decided what that lineup was going to be.
And we tended to, although some of the wineries have expanded quite a bit, we tended to try to get smaller wineries so that you couldn't go to the Brookshires, you couldn't go to the grocery store and get their wines.
Oh, that's excellent.
Green Goat, right up the road here, 5 miles away.
Before we opened, we were at the Green Goat every weekend. They're great. We love them. They have a beautiful place out there.
A couple of exceptions, Fiesta, when we originally
that same trip.
Yes, the
same trip that we went to his brother's house.
They had just converted their
game room
into their tasting room. She was a dental hygienist. He was still farming. It's nothing like it is today. I mean, it was the equivalent of this.
Right.
And so as they've grown, we still carry their wines, but it kind of breaks our mold a little bit. And the Landon wines, Landon, big company, tons of tasting rooms, but it's close to where we live.
Right.
I mean, or our city house, I like to call it.
And the Landon wines are really popular.
And the Landon wines are good.
Oh,
yes, and popular.
Yeah, I mean, knowing Bob Landon, his motto is we make wines for people to enjoy.
Yep.
And that's why he is popular the way he is. Yeah.
And we like some of the smaller ones. Have we ever met Bob? I don't think we've met him.
If I need to schedule that for you, I can make that happen.
But
he owes me a favor.
we like some of the smaller ones. You go and see, Rip and Cindy up at Green Goat, and
he's going to take you in the back,
around,
show you what they're
and I
doing.
mean, let you sample something, that he's working on. I mean, and it's really nice working, with the smaller guys because they'll take the time, and I like talking to somebody that's making wine that maybe I'm gonna be selling.
So and we like some of the wine from the larger places, but if you go, sometimes you're not talking to the person that is making it and knows about it. So we tend to seek out the smaller places. Just that's how we learn.
Well, and it's always great that you're doing that because you're supporting the mom and pop locations because you know what it's like as yourself to be a mom and pop place. And so we need to support them to get them up and going. They may not ever want to be the Bob Landon or the Binghams or the Messina Hoffs or whatever, but they just want to be able to serve their community just like you're wanting to do.
And you know what the neatest thing is about the Texas wine industry? Everyone that we have come in contact with supports each other. I mean, you'll go to a winery down the street and they're all going to tell you, hey, did you go visit this place, and this place? And we've always experienced that, which I thought that was really neat about the industry.
At Harvest, if we don't get the amount of grapes that we're thinking we're going to get, and somebody needs bins, loan them bins. I mean, it's just it's just
everybody seems to help everybody to help the industry.
Well, Rusty over at Breaking Bud had coined a phrase. It's called cooperation. You're always cooperating with each other, but you're still in competition with each other.
That's interesting.
I love that phrase. It's a great phrase. I won't have to actually see if I can copyright that phrase before he does. He threatens me every time I use it.
But I'd just like to mirror what you were saying, and you were saying as well, as you go to some of these wineries and they go, hey, look what I'm working on. Hey, we've been to several, and they go, hey, and they're like, let me show you what I'm working on. And they're proud of it. And then you go back to and you sample it and say, this should be bottled in so many months. And so you look forward that, or you might get it, this just is right at the very beginning. So those of us that are enthusiastic, so that's what it begins as.
What was fun is with Green Goat, he was doing a strawberry wine, and we tasted it right in the beginning and then right up, to the end. And if you haven't had their strawberry wine, it's
a lot of people they just see that, but when we're part of the industry where we can, what's this going to be?
It's always fun. And I know y'all do this with Michael when y'all go out and see him, that y'all go out and taste some of the wines during the aging process, and you go out there and you're like, well, here, try this, and then you do your bench trials and start doing your tastings and your blends and all of that. That's the fun part.
That's how we came up on the Red Bud. That's the Black Spanish, but we topped it off with 15% Red Zin. And that was one of the times when we were there playing around with things, and it was like, Oh,
you know,
pretty good.
I have actually found a new love for Red Zen because, you know, next time y'all come up, let me give y'all a try the Red Zen, the Symphony that he has. We have a love-hate relationship with that bottle. I love to hate it and I hate to love it because I think it's got like 4% sugar on it. It's very low amount of sugar, but it's enough sweetness there that you can sit on the patio and drink it and you realize it's gone before you even realize it's gone. And you're like, oh, I really hated that bottle.
It's a hole in the bottle.
But you know, and Bob also had. I don't know if y'all ever had his 19th anniversary bottle.
Well, in fact, we may
still have one.
We may have one up there on the shelf.
I don't know the percentage on it, but I know that he had Zen on so it was a Cab, Merlot, Petit Syrah, Alicante Bichet, Carry On, and Zinfandel.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you what,
which one we have.
that little bit of Zinfandel on the end of it, for whatever reason, it just pulls everything together. And I've had some Zens, and just wasn't a big fan of it, but I'm actually finding a new love for it now. And it's amazing that when you try something once and you're like, eh, and then all of a sudden you try it again from somewhere else, and you're like,
right.
Oh. Like, let's talk about Tannat. That's becoming the new Texas grape. It's Tannat.
Yes.
I remember the first time I tried Tannat, and I'm not going to lie, Bob's was the first one I ever drank. I was not a fan of it. Too earthy, too tannic. But I went down to Rustic Spur, not Rusty Spur, but Rustic Spur down in Fredericksburg, and she poured me a red, and I started drinking it. I was like, wow, this is really, really good. And come to find out, it was a Tannat. And I realized that you in my young age of learning about wines, you can't judge a book by its cover, you know? And so Zen is like starting to become one of my favorite ones now.
Yeah.
So
one of the things that Glenda, who's behind the scenes right now, and I run into is our friends, and they find out about wines, and they say, well, I like this category of wine here. What should I choose? And we always tell them, what do you like? And then you go from there, and you take that and you go somewhere else, and you go, this is one, let me try that one, and you build up a card, if you will. And working with Will on this podcast, that's what we have done. Right. And so we each have our favorites. So when we go somewhere new, we each order our favorite. But then you have a zone you compare it to. This isn't as good as so-and-so, but it's got this to it. And, you know, that's all part of the learning process. And that's part of what Will tries to do this whole podcast is educate the public out there that don't know about y'all and others that are just making a product that's crazy, but it's not in the big box stores.
Right. We have a lot of customers, too, that come in and they don't know, do I like dry, do I sweet? They don't know what it means. So we try to educate them, maybe start in the middle and see, do they make a face? And then that tells me kind of where to take them. And
and we've got, 65 wines, of which 13 are ours. And we're a little different in that you're free to sample every single wine. We're not going to charge you for the sample just because we want to find something. And nobody abuses that. Worst case scenario, we may have had a person.
Sorry, do I go up on that one?
We may have had a person that maybe they tried 5 different wines and just there wasn't anything to their liking. They weren't a wine person. And, we don't have somebody coming in and, sample all 60 and say we're not going to buy anything. I mean,
maybe by the time they get to the last one, they're like,
But it helps people find that don't know. It helps them find. Yeah. And then by the time they leave, they kind of have an understanding, if they did go somewhere else, what it is that they like.
And she is incredibly good about what do you like. Right. And then normally within 1 or 2 wines, she can hit it. So either going a little sweeter, a little drier.
What's also fun is when we have maybe customers that come in, they start, on that sweet side. And as they have more wine and they, experiment a little bit and they start moving down, the end, and then they'll say, I can't believe I used to drink this. And now they're drinking the heaviest red that we have.
Well, it warms my heart. Her and I we used to be big bold red snobs. If it wasn't a big bold red, we didn't want it. And look what I'm drinking.
We don't know.
This is one of my favorites.
We don't know who we are anymore. If we like it, we drink it, and
some of my favorite things that people come into the tasting room, they'll tell me that I want something that's dry. And again, people don't understand what that term means. And it's crazy to think about it. In wine terms, it means no sugar.
Right.
And so when I ask them, so when they say dry, I was like, okay, let's define the word dry. What do you not like about dry wine? So they'll say, well, I don't like that dry, that chalky finish, or that where you're almost, well, they will say sometimes chewy. And I was like, okay, so what you're actually referring there is tannic, is very tannic wine there. And I said the word dry actually means no sugar. And they look at me like I have like 7 heads. And I'm like, yeah, that's actually what it means. And then what you do is you turn around immediately after you tell them that, you grab your dry rosé that's got very fruit forward on it, and they drink it. And they're like, wait a minute, didn't you just tell me it's dry? I was like, yeah, but this is fruit forward. But it's that education that they want. And I found that working at Landon is that people want the education. They want to understand more about the wine. And when they start understanding not just the terminology, but the structures of wine, they actually will start saying, oh, you know what? This sweet wine is not really what I want no more. I want to do a good white, good crisp white, or I want to do a very nice succulent rosé, or a big bold red. And it's that education that puts them out of that comfort zone and pushes them into something else. In fact, one of my favorite things to do when people come in, I ask them, I said, what do you gravitate to? And they'll tell me, oh, I do cabs and Pinot Noirs and all that. And I said, well, today you're not. And then they look at me like I'm crazy. And I explain to them, well, that's your teddy bear. You're comfortable with that. Right. You have not experienced wine. And so I will pour them wine that they've never heard of before, and it pulls them out of their comfort zone. It pulls that teddy bear away from them, and they grasp at it, but yet they, at the same time, they're trying something new, and they find something new. They find a passion in it. And I've actually had several people have come back in and actually have said, thank you for doing this, because I found new varietals that I really like. And they'll say, well, granted, I'm not from Texas, and they'll go to the nearest the wine store, and they will start picking up different stuff. And it feels good knowing that you educate them and show them that there is other wines besides cabs and Pinot Noirs out there.
I love when someone comes in and says, you pick. I'm going to drink whatever you pick for me. I mean, there's a lot of pressure there too. But usually we get it. We get them something they like.
Not me. She's a smart one. I do the books, and I do the heavy lifting. But yeah, she's the intelligent part of the equation.
When we first got into the wine scene with Will, I did tours over in Spain and Italy, so I was heavy reds. Mm-hmm. If you went down to the coast, that's when you ran into your lighter wines. And so I'm like, yeah, I don't want wine. And I started, and I was like, wait a minute, what flavor is this? And then we'd go back and gear it down and break it down into Texas wines with Will's assistance. And now I could, whatever, pull off my wine rack. But I know, like say it's the end of the day, I just want something refreshing. I know which way to go if I want something to go. But, we heard something, and I point to Glenda off the camera, but we learned something. We just went through a class and said, don't let the rules rule you.
Yep.
Yeah.
So just because thou shalt know, that's no. And so if you want this with spaghetti or a beef or whatever, that's fine. If you want this with shrimp, whatever you enjoy.
Well, there was one of the early cooking shows. He was a Cajun.
Yeah.
And Justin, yes. And, I done good. And
right.
His motto would be, what kind of wine is good? The kind of wine you done did like. And he would take, a gallon or a half gallon, with the finger in it, put it up on his shoulder, take him a big old gulp of it, and then put it in whatever he was cooking. But yes, that's Cajun, first cooking show I think I ever watched on TV, and I think it was more comedy than it was cooking.
I agree with you on that.
But he brought a good point. He said, "What you're going to cook with what you drink."
Yeah.
And if you watch any of the Food Network nowadays, they'll say, they'll go over their fridge and pull out a bottle of wine, put it in there, and they got a glass over here because they're cooking, because you want all those flavors.
Yep. Well, then that brings up a good little topic. Let's talk about food and wine. Okay. So I mean, we all know that typically, most cases, whites and fish or white meat. Let's just say white meat, and then reds with any red meat, with some occasions of pork. Okay, so when it comes to pork, let's say you got your blanc de blanc right here. Mm-hmm. If you were to eat something with it right now,
right,
what would it be? And you can't think about it. You got to say the first word.
For me, it would be whatever I have available. I could have a big red steak with it. Yeah. I could have a chicken. I could have a fish. I don't follow those rules. You know, red wine, red meat. Nah, it's whatever you like.
Perfect. I mean, more people need to hear that because they get locked into that.
Oh, that's why I actually brought that up, because that's the deal. A lot of people get locked into that. They're like, okay, well, if I have a red wine, I need a steak with it. Well, not all the times. There is some white fish that goes with it. You know, it depends on what you're cooking with.
Try a bag of popcorn and a glass of wine. I mean, that's it.
And you can do interesting things like a dark chocolate with a particular wine, mm-hmm. and you can really do some interesting pairings where, you know, 1 and 1 gives you 5, and you get much more mm-hmm. out of either the chocolate or the wine. But every day, I mean, again, if I got a steak, well, she doesn't eat red meat, so that means I don't eat red meat. There. But I had to go there. But if I had a steak in the fridge,
that's the next episode, ladies.
Yeah, if I had a steak, we may be in divorce court. But if I had a steak in the fridge and I had a white wine, I would not hesitate. I mean,
we got to cook the steak first.
Yeah.
Crunch on it, maybe.
You know, oh man, I just literally had something on top of my head and just went right out of.
I got 2 interesting stories we can tell you.
Go for it.
we were probably not open more than a month or 2, and we had a young individual. He was probably in his mid-20s from Tyler. Mm-hmm. Tyler's 15 miles away.
Yeah.
And he gave us the best compliment that we've ever gotten. He said, you know, I never thought I would come to Chandler, Texas for a night out. And it was like...
And there was a big group of he and his friends that night. They were on the patio.
Yeah, and it was like that. You couldn't have given me a better compliment. They left Tyler, Texas, 100,000 people to come to Chandler under 10,000. That was one story. The other story, do you want to tell it about the vacationing couple?
So, you know, we do carry, Fiesta wine. Mm-hmm. So they were staying at an Airbnb over at Lake Palestine, and they came in. They said, "We need a wine. We're going to go back to our lake house. We're gonna get in the hot tub." And I said, "Skinny dipping." And they said, "We'll take it." You know the wine I'm talking about, Fiesta.
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, do you want to try it?" And nope, that's our wine.
we're taking the skinny dipping.
Took it to the
tub. Yep. Those are both true stories. Honest to goodness, I couldn't make that stuff up.
Oh, hey, I went to a tasting room. There's some stories that I can't say on air.
well, we've got some of those as well.
Yeah, we got to keep it G-rated here. But having a tasting room and seeing the people come in and have them try the wine, and you see their faces light up when they're like, they experience something new, and you're like, wow, this is what makes it worthwhile every day to come in here. I know some days, I'm not gonna lie, there's some days I wake up and I'm like, I really don't want to work in the tasting room today. I really don't want to do that. But you get in there and you get situated and you get into your element, and then you start having people come in, and the next thing you know, you meet that one person that comes in and then makes it worthwhile all over again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my favorite too is, we'll have a husband and wife come in and he'll say, "I'm here because of her. She drinks the wine. I don't drink wine." I said,
But you know what?
Let me give you a couple samples while you're here.
Yes.
And it's a challenge for me. I'm like, I'm going to find you wine. We usually do.
Yeah. One of my favorite things is when people come in and say, "Oh, well, I don't like a Tempranillo, or I don't like, or a cigar ash." And I'm thinking in my head, challenge accepted. Thank you. And then what you do is you get there and you get through their tasting and stuff, and you don't even tell them what it is.
Yes.
You pour it, and they drink it. And they're like, "Oh, what is this?" I said, "Well, if I tell you what it is, will you buy a bottle right now?" And they're like, "Sure." And I told them the Tempranillo, and they're like, "Oh crap! Now I've been stuck to this."
We have one here, and it's from White Fox Winery over in Murchison.
Oh.
And so they do a blueberry wine, It's a sweet wine. But they also did a version of that same sweet blueberry. They aged it in barrels.
In oak.
And it literally takes that from that sweet blueberry more into a semi-sweet, but you get the oak on there if you like oak. And so I intentionally, though, I will not tell people what I'm giving, because as soon as they think I'm giving them blueberry, they're already going to be thinking about it. And I had a lady one day, she swore to me that I poured her a cab. And I said, I can assure you it's not, but it's so good. And I think people are shocked when I do tell them what it is.
The funny thing with that story was when our rep was here, he brought some wines for us to taste. And I want you to taste this blueberry. And it's like, we have got a shelf full.
We're already going to buy the sweet blueberry because a lot of people like it.
We've got sweet wines. We do not need another sweet wine, and we already had their sweet blueberry. He said, just taste it. We tasted it, and it's like, oh my gosh.
We all looked at each other. Renee was here too, Renee Baker. And
we kind of be under our breath like, no, okay, we're just going to, we don't need this.
It was so good.
Oh my gosh, it is so It is very good. In fact,
we'll have to give you all
you will not believe that it's blueberry.
They did the same thing with their muscadine. They did the same thing with that.
You know, I like to tell people when they come into the tasting room, I tell them that I'm a sweet guy, but not a sweet guy. But you know what? Being in the industry, and I actually learned this the other day from a couple winemakers, that, you know, we all start drinking sweet wines.
Yep.
And then we graduate from the sweet wines. We go into the whites and the rosés and the reds, and then we make a full circle back, back to the sweets. But being a winemaker, you have to be able to drink some of that stuff, some of the wines, to know what you're making. You can't just make it and throw it out and expect it to be great. I mean, you might find a small percentage of people that thinks that's the greatest thing in the world since sliced bread. But you don't want it just be sliced bread.
Everything we make, I want it to be something that we would take home and drink.
Right.
So.
Right. And when we first started that Ponderosa Red, we were at a dividing line because we needed to find something that a husband and wife, kind of the middle of the road, and we took a little bit of a risk of not going one way or the other, and kind of took that middle of the road, and it's worked out. It's worked out real well for us. And then we've, as we've added others, we've kind of expanded that horizon a little bit, and you can get something specific. But yeah, that
but
first
we had
wine,
that a lot. They would come in, scary. I'm sweet, I'm dry, but we want something in the middle we can share.
Right.
And so that's what we were going for with that first wine. And
yeah, when you got a few hundred cases of of wine, it gets scary. You make the right choice. I mean,
well, so you're making all these choices about what you're doing in wine, but you've been doing this for now 5 years. That's commendable. I mean, there's a lot of people that have opened up in COVID and kind of shuttered a little bit, but they're still going. So what is it that you are doing here at Doc Cellars that makes these people come back? It's not, I know your wine is doing it, but what else? It's not just the wine that's doing it. Honestly, I smiled a little bit because I saw something on your wall over there that made me smile. You had the Dublin Soda Factory.
Yep.
Okay, so you're really supporting Texas industry, especially when you're going all the way to Dublin, Texas, where people don't even know where that's at.
I went to school at Tarleton, so we used to go over to the Dublin plant when we were there, and it's the best sodas.
Okay.
And a couple of the things is that you can come in here and not buy anything at all from us. Come and use our Wi-Fi. You see the games over there. Come and pick up Sorry, or they're playing games there. We had Mary Kay in here. There wasn't any commitment or anything. They just we knew that they were coming in, but they just showed up. We didn't charge them anything. Right. They buy something, great. Sometimes people will come in here and just read a book, and I think that's kind of the key on it, is just come in. We got to pay for the electric. You coming in, the AC doesn't change or anything like that. You use the Wi-Fi, that's fine. We don't get charged by, how much we use it. You want to watch the TV? I'll give you the remote. Pick a channel that you want. No,
I'm just trying to make it comfortable.
I'll fix it.
Don't get into pay-per-view. But we try to just make it as a...
I want you to feel comfortable like you're coming in our home.
Our theme was, you remember the show Cheers?
Yes.
That if we
So who's
could be
Norm?
the Cheers, we won't pick that. If we could be the Cheers of Chandler, Texas, then that would be great.
Exactly. That's awesome.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. And if you come in on Friday nights it's really a lot of our locals that come in. And chances are you can come here by yourself and you're going to know somebody that's in here.
That's
so we
awesome.
do. We get a lot of people
So
who just come in by themselves. They know.
Yeah, so it's like Cheers.
We have a group of ladies on Friday night. The oldest is 93. And they're here every Friday night. They wear their T-shirts, their Swirl Society T-shirts. And every Friday they come in and have their slushes and have their group. They sit in this living room over here. And it just makes our night every Friday when we come in and they're here.
Computer.
And, I mean, you can't see it on camera, but you've got, 4 ladies over here playing board games.
Yeah.
I mean, we have people that will come in and play Uno. And, again, we've got dominoes. I mean, we've got all kinds of games and stuff.
Okay, so when you have people come here and play Uno, does it get kind of, like cutthroat Uno?
It only gets cutthroat when I egg them on. When one has won a couple, and it's like, oh, she's cheating. You need to, or when I stand behind them and say,
I'm not gonna lie. I do the same thing. People come play Uno with the tasting room. I'll walk behind one of them, and I'm pouring a glass of wine, and I'm like,
That's so bad.
"Hey, it's fun."
As a card player, boy, I would. No, that's not.
And I mean, I'll speak for myself. I won't speak for you, but I'm kind of stupid at all of this. I don't worry about turning over seats and how quickly you can get somebody in and get them out.
Yeah.
If we need more seats, we bring more seats in here.
Well,
and if somebody's sitting here and they're not buying anything, that's why we got free water. Come,
we have
get
a lot
some
of our
water.
friends that come in and we'll get busy and we'll get slammed and they'll jump up and help us. And they're
wash
washing dishes. And I said, why do you come here? You're in washing your own dishes. So,
Well, it's a lot of wineries are like that. They're all about get them in, get them out, get them in, get it out. But you've made a place here that people want to feel at home with, and I really like that. There's not a lot of places out there, whether it's a tasting room, whether it's a bar, whether it's a restaurant, whatever. There's not a lot of places like that, especially in the big city. When you come out here to the smaller towns, the rural cities, you find more of that because everything's a lot slower. I hate to say it that way, but it's a lot slower. Where in the city is hurry, 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 don't stop, keep going, don't stop. And what you have created here is absolutely freaking amazing.
Well, and I probably shouldn't say this, but we both have. I say that a lot of times. We both have normal corporate jobs, and we don't depend on this to pay the mortgage or the insurance or anything like that. If we break even, we're happy because we can kind of give a service to the community. We love Chandler. Chandler is. I grew up in a very similar small town in southwestern Virginia. I like to emphasize southwestern Virginia. It was not. Southwestern Virginia.
There's a reason why you're emphasizing that.
Yes,
Is there a reason why we need to know
that? But very, very small. About the same size. The ranch we have here is about 100 acres. In Texas, I mean, you can't. A lot of ranches, you can't turn the tractor around in 100 acres.
Right.
But that's kind of what I grew up on, and it's like, man, I really like this place. Well, we've got great neighbors in our city house in Dallas, and it's a nice house. We sometimes wish we could have picked that house up and bring it here. But really, really like it, and it's kind of an escape for us. I mean, this is the furthest from our normal corporate jobs. I mean, it's nothing like our normal corporate jobs.
Well, and sometimes we have to escape from, I hate to say this word, reality, because we push and push all day long to do our day jobs, to function as a human. But sometimes we need to find something that's in our life that we find passionate about, and we promote it, we push it, we do everything we can to see other people light up, because that's us as humans. We want to give to other people. We want to see people smile.
When we see people enjoying the place and feel comfortable here, that makes our day.
Yeah. And that's awesome that you are doing that. So we're starting to come toward the end of this. So let's talk more about your wines that you've got here. All right. So what wines do you have right now? You said you have 13 different wines.
13 different wines.
Can you name all your wines off the top of your head?
I can't.
Let me think. We go the Muscat Giallo, the Blanc de Bois, the 3A Rosé, Montepulciano Rosé, Tempranillo Rosé, Red Bud, Ponderosa Red, Syrah, Sangiovese, Ponderosa Sky, Doc Cellars, and a Malbec.
I told you
there.
I told you she was the smart one.
Oh my gosh, that's great. So out of all of those that you've got, which one is y'all's favorite and which one is the public's favorite?
Oh, well, okay. I can tell you right now, and it's the one we're sold out of. It's the Giallo.
Yeah, the Muscat Giallo. I think we have 3 bottles of that left. Yes.
We had 150, 200 cases of that.
Wow.
For the Chardonnay drinker, I would always pull it out little bit sweeter, but not overly sweet. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that was my go-to.
Wow.
I probably drink a lot more of those bottles than
that's why you almost sold out.
I got to get rid of it.
The 3A Rosé has been super popular, and that's a Black Spanish from here. The Ponderosa Sky that we just released, the 3A I have up here. I don't have the Ponderosa Sky up here.
I was just going to say, the 3A, you can't really see it on the label, but it's a shout out to our nieces.
So Ashley, Allison, and Autumn. So the 3A, it's got their picture on the front. That one is a really big seller. Ponderosa Red's been a big seller, and Red Bud's coming right up behind it.
Okay, so I want to say, let's stop for just a second. Let's talk about this. So we came in here, and you said, "Here, you got to try this." And this is your Black Spanish Sparkling.
Black Spanish Sparkling.
And we talked about Michael McClendon, who made one for another winery. And you was like, well, you got to try ours. And you poured it for us. And I'm like, Mother God, this is so good.
And, and I don't think people were expecting a sparkling red. I wanted to do something different. Yep. And we use that for, mimosas. You think of, orange juice and a white sparkling.
Right.
We started pairing that with a strawberry lemonade. And
a papaya.
Yeah. Well, the pineapple mango and the strawberry peach. And that's the main thing that we sell at, showers and that type of thing. Once we introduce them to it, they're wow. And it really turned out, I think, even better than we expected.
Well, and it's crazy how you take something you didn't think is supposed to be something and you make it into something and you're like, wow. And then what's really crazy is you may not be able to replicate that ever again. And you're like, okay, I should have made like 1,000 cases or 2,000 cases of this, and it's already too late.
And I went out on a limb with all of the grapes this year, almost 4 tons, give or take. We're doing that bourbon barrel. Black
we're
Spanish.
Basically taking the recipe of the Ponderosa Red and aging that.
I'm out on a limb. Here, so let's hope that limb doesn't snap.
You all come back in a year and
that's a good analogy.
Excited about that.
Yeah.
With us around, I don't think it's going to snap.
We stole that from that Pinot Noir that Landon made, that bourbon barrel. I mean, if I could have gotten 1 million cases
when I knew that was coming out, I grabbed 10 cases of that.
You do.
Your personal collection.
We're going to pause now. We make an arrangement.
We were able to get 10 cases of that, and they were gone.
Yeah. Anybody who tasted it, it's
the
like,
price
oh
point
my
was
God.
good on it.
Price point was incredible.
The taste was amazing.
Well, and I remember he brought that out, and I've never seen a Pinot Noir bourbon barrel. And to try it was the best way I could say it. It was the most silky, smooth, velvety taste. And I know all those words in the same sentence. It's hard to imagine it, but when you get it in your mouth and you feel the smoothness and the calmness of it, and as it travels down your palate and you swallow it, and that feeling, you're like, I don't have the words for this.
We converted a lot of folks to be wine drinkers with that because they recognized, "You a bourbon drinker?" Yes. Let me give you something. And they loved it.
Yeah.
Well, and what was the other one that they had that was in the peach brandy? Was that the Chardonnay?
Yeah, the Chardonnay that was aged in peach brandy barrels.
But we had to warn people. We had to warn them that this is not your normal Chardonnay.
Yes.
Because the alcohol
14%,
was 14.5%.
I mean,
it's like you can't drink it
14.
like a Chardonnay. What's that?
I said the label said 14.
Well,
I would say this is a sipper.
Yeah.
There's been many of those red bottles that you drink and you're like, this is not 14.
I'd like to put on the table and to those of us watching this that Will can sometimes be like that guy with the trench coat in a good way. He'll say, "You want a bottle of so and so?" And you're like, "I've been waiting. Where did you get?" I can, So you're be careful. I wish I had a bottle of that. He's liable to open his trench coat.
Well, I think the last time we
In a
were in
nice
there,
way.
he was like, "Come here, you need to taste this."
Well, I did that. Rosé Cabernet Sauvignon was what I did. Did y'all ever try his Viognier aged in a gin barrel?
No.
Okay, note to self. Remember, Will, when you're editing this, to bring a Viognier gin barrel. So, what do you got coming up for Doc Cellars? Okay, so we're coming on to 5 years. So you're looking for the next 5 years. What are you going to do to help get those next 5 years? What is the next steps?
She's going to let me retire from my corporate job, and then we'll be open more. That's my game.
He will have to learn how to do charcuterie boards if that happens.
I turned 62 in January, and
he's a baby.
Yeah, and I'm, she may milk 3 more years out of me, but my target is 65.
Excellent. That's excellent.
Okay, so
You play golf yet?
so you're going to retire. So what's the next steps? What are the next things you're going to be doing?
I think if we could add, more nights, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Wine-wise, I don't know. I mean, we're a little bit limited, because we're doing everything Texas-wise. And so, yeah, we're a little bit limited on what we can do. But, yeah, I don't know. We may venture into a couple of – we'll see how this bourbon barrel Black Spanish goes.
Yes. And then maybe experiment with a few more whites, some of the dry whites.
Oh.
Maybe expand there. I think with the Muscat Giallo, I think we're looking for something else maybe in similar to that to maybe explore with coming up. So.
Nice.
Yeah,
awesome.
Michael and Wes, they keep us on their speed dial, and if they know that somebody has excess fruit or whatever, we're on the short list. So.
Excellent.
Okay.
I would like to have something, from your sweet to your dry, everything in between. So we basically have something for everyone.
Right.
Yeah.
That's nice. Awesome. Well, so where can people find y'all online? And actually, where's your physical location?
So we here 113 East Main, downtown Chandler, the big downtown Chandler. And then we're on Facebook. So it's Doc Cellars Tx. There is a Doc Cellar in California
Yes,
that recently closed. And so there was a big rumor in town that we were closing, and I said that's not us. But it's Doc Cellars Tx. We have all of our events out there. Any wine that we're releasing, you can keep up with everything that's going on out there.
Well, and just easier, Wade's place.
We're across the street
from Wade's. If you get to Wade's place, you've found us.
Okay.
I mean, because everybody in this area knows Wade's place.
Okay, so that's a free plug for Wade. I'll make sure I go and get some money from them.
Yes.
Wade's our neighbor here. He's our neighbor out close to the ranch, and you can take our wine there.
Yeah.
You can bring their food here. So
Awesome. All right. Well, it was awesome that y'all got to sit down and talk about this with y'all and got to talk about your 5 years and stuff. It's amazing to get to hear that another winery gets to celebrate another year because we are in a pretty tough economy right now.
Yes.
And things are people are tightened down harder and harder. But you know what? You are surviving. You're going to survive another 5 years. Proud to hear what y'all are doing. Y'all are making some great strides because I actually remember talking to y'all and you talk about having some of your wines being made, and then the next time we met, you're like, "Oh yeah, we got wines now," and I'm like, "Wow, that was quick."
Well, I got to share a little story about him. We're loading wine in the car.
Uh-huh.
He's taking 2 cases at a time. 2 cases at a time. Show off. That's all I have to say. And I think was it a sparkling? Those heavy bottles. I mean, heavy bottles. And he's 2 cases at a time. It's like, I felt like a little wimp. I'm struggling just carrying 1 case out.
And then I got smart. Put it on the cart and dragged it out.
The joys of youth.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Well, we appreciate you all and the support and the
absolutely.
relationships we have with you at Landon, too. So, I mean, it's just been fantastic.
I will definitely see if I can get Bob to come in. If you give me a heads up, I will find a way to get you. Actually, Bob is most of the time, he's actually in Gainesville. Oh, not Gainesville, Greenville.
Okay, Greenville.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful place.
It is.
We got a tour back when didn't they do some like dancing or something?
Well, they have the ballroom
the
back behind the
ballroom.
tasting room and then the barrel room back there. So,
Is that the main
it's a neat
production
place.
facility?
That is the main production for now.
For now.
For now, until they get the Denison location up and running. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice right there on the square.
It was neat.
Yeah.
Yep, it is. So, well, again, I appreciate it. So real quick, I want to hit with my sponsors right quick. So obviously, y'all know about the Texas Wine Lover app.
Yes.
Yep.
Great little app for finding all these little wineries like y'all. Get on there. You can plan your day trip, find your food, find you whatever you're looking for. And even Ron actually did a post about y'all also recently. Yep. So that's amazing that he did that. Find more information about y'all through that as well. And then, of course, also Old Vine, Texas in Mansfield, Texas. You know, he brings in a lot of the hill country wines for a lot of people who don't want to drive 4 hours to the hill country. He brings in a lot of wines from there, and he's wanting to expand it to have different regions of Texas, East Texas, South Texas, West Texas, all in there. So that way people could just enjoy Texas wines without having to drive all over Texas. Because we know Texas is a huge state, and you just can't make it somewhere in a day, And then, of course, the other one is High Camp Flask. Have y'all actually seen that before? No. Let me tell you a little story about this. So I got one. We went out to Possum Kingdom Lake where we were cleaning our cabin out, and I had a thing of wine in it, and it said it will keep wine at perfect temperature for 24 hours. Okay, so both ends come off as a tumbler, magnetic tumbler. Pop the top off it, and you hear it releasing pressure, and you pour your wine. And I had that High Camp Flask in the sun at 90 degrees all day long. At 3 o'clock, I opened it. We poured some wine out of it, and it was still cool.
Wow.
Interesting.
Now, after 24 hours, I can't guarantee what's going to happen.
What bottle of wine lasts 24 hours? Though?
I was about to say, I mean,
that's why it's never.
If the bottle's not empty, there's an issue.
Oh, yeah.
That's why there's never been proven, you see, because it's like how many licks to a Tootsie Roll pop? Just never happened.
Oh, man. But
you're aging yourself with that reference.
Oh, you know what? I know that, too. I remember that as a kid, asking the owl how many licks.
1, 2, crunch.
The owl.
3. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. As we always do, we do wine quotes. And lately, I've actually started using GPT to generate some great Texas wine quotes. And I swear, they've been popping out some of the best Texas wine quotes lately that it's just like, this is amazing. Wow. So I got 2 perfectly set for y'all. Are y'all ready for this?
We're ready.
Yes.
All right. Texas doesn't just make wine. We bottle a little bit of our wild spirit in every pour. I mean, is that not cool or what?
That is nice.
And then the last one is, every drop of Texas wine carries a heartbeat of the land that it was raised in.
Yeah, I like that.
Is
that? I mean, how great is that? I'm gonna have to start coining these phrases and copyright them all and stuff like that. So, well, Val and Web, it is awesome that y'all allowed me to sit down with y'all here and talk about y'all's wine and talk about how y'all came into doing this. I love talking about this, letting other people find y'all. It's just what I'm here. I'm here to support and promote y'all. So
we appreciate it very much.
Yeah, we appreciate it. In case you didn't notice, I like to talk.
No, I don't know that at all.
I once had a boss tell me, he said, look, I ask you what time it is, and you tell me how to build a watch.
Well, you go out there and you put it in the sun. So, this is Will.
Hey, this is Hutch.
And I'm pointing at y'all now.
Oh, Val.
Web.
And this is We Know Texas.
Cheers.
Cheers.